I have Mr. Edem Chutome and also Kwame Dadzi from Joy FM's Showbiz A to Z. The man is up in the building. We're about to get into it. This morning, the 10th edition of the Ghana Dance Festival has been announced. And correct me if I'm wrong, I have the CEO of the Ghana Dance Festival in the building. I beg, am I right to use the term CEO? I beg.
Team lead, CEO, anything, Charlie.
Team lead, creative lead, any form of leadership position, they accept time. Mr. Robert Clark is in the building. How are you doing, Robert?
He's the founder.
Make I lower this guy. How do I even lower this thing?
Are you not the founder of the festival?
I'm the founder,
Yeah, the founder. Are you the only founder? Or the other founders?
Founding fathers.
Before we start debating who is the true founder of the festival.
There's nothing to debate here.
Oh, okay.
There are no co-founders.
No big six. Or big three. but school me a little bit about the Ghana Dance Festival. I mean,
so I've had a passion for a very long time, and you work within a space, and over the period, you consistently see that somehow, some way, over there are issues, and sometimes you hope they are addressed, and you realize that they are not addressed, but you get into a particular position and you actually feel like you can do something about it, or you're listening to the message from Henry Ford. It says, "Do not find fault, find remedy." So I was finding faults, but eventually I realized that actually maybe I should focus on finding remedy. What can I do about the situation?
Yeah.
So after constant engagement, I think one of the projects we worked with over 500 dancers for Malta Guinea's street dance. It was something of some sort. We created something at the what do you call it? Independence Square. There was a program we did. We had P Square coming around and all of that. So I had to work with 500 plus dancers. Yeah. So when we finished, I was like, Charlie, something ought to be done. Then I had also been invited to participate in several festivals, even across West Africa. And then they always go like, so when are they coming to participate in mine?
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, don't worry, I'm cooking something. And eventually I thought of the idea, and I'm like, okay, it's time to have a festival, because my research basically clearly showed that dance is, for many people, dance has different meanings. So there were some that saw dance as an art form. For others, it's sports. For others, it's like a workout experience.
Yeah.
For others, we still have academia, the career path, and stuff like that. And they had different forms of expression. So there were couple dancers. We also have the street dance vibe. We also have the cultural expression, which is ICH, intangible cultural heritage, which is like our cultural dance types, and like on and on and on, like different types of dances. So I'm like, okay, how do we bring all of these things together and be able to have a huge celebration? So I embarked on a project where we would have a festival in the very sense of the word festival, as in multiple events making up one particular program, so that each event is directed at each of the folks within the space. So that so we would be able to bring everybody under one umbrella and then progress from that point. Hence the Ghana Dance Festival. So 2015 we started and we've been on a path trying to perfect it, and it's not been easy, because you are operating within a space that didn't have too many structures and people who were scattered around, and you had to do a lot, and it's not like you have some funding coming from somewhere. So basically you had to literally pull everything together to be able to advance the cause. And obviously you still meet people in the space that you have a little issues with here and there, and then you have to manage these things while you are working. So it's been like that, back and forth, and
for 10
and today
years.
we are here. Yes, this is the 10th edition. We're about to do it.
And when are you looking at starting this year's festivities?
Yeah, so we will start this month. In terms of the main activities, we have like 10 iconic events that's going to be happening, and it's going to kick off officially from 29th of August, and it's going to run all the way through 23rd of September.
Okay.
Yeah, but
The series of events.
Series of events. Each week there's going to be something, and at least from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of stuff for the various weeks all the way through till we finish it on 23rd. We will climax the program with the Dance Awards. and
Dance awards.
Yes.
Okay.
Where we honor all the heroes within the space and everything that they have done within the space. Anybody contributing to the culture, staying true to the culture, and all of these elements to be projected. But then prior to that, we'll have a launch. The launch will happen this month before we begin the actual activity. So the date is going to come out pretty shortly, and then we'll delve heavily into the space.
Okay. I have two questions now. One, as dance being an aspect of culture, do you believe or do you feel it's been given the necessary attention? That is first and foremost the one question. And also with respect to the growth of dance and participation in dance as any form of whether culture, whether educational, has there been growth since the inception of the Ghana Festival 10 years ago?
Oh, well, if it's about the festival, yes, there's been growth. As a matter of fact, people who have participated in the festival, you can clearly see some of them shining today. One of the objectives that we had from the onset was to create stars.
Okay.
And we wanted to create stars because we were like, how do we get the attention of the media in an organic way?
Okay.
Yeah, because those days, in organizing a program, take out the leverage or the people I knew, literally felt like you were begging people to gain audience on major platforms and conversations and discussions. So immediately what we did was to create the Dancetera platform.
Okay.
And anybody,
Dancetera.
yes, Dancetera. At some point, we were showing on 6 television stations because we wanted to be able to make noise for people to know, because dance to a certain extent was not being represented in its holistic way, because you would see dance in music video, but it is what the director has called for. Okay. And so if you don't take care, people might assume that is what dance is. But dance has many more forms, and those were not being projected. So having a mouthpiece like Dancetera was the only way out. And in that particular project, it was difficult because obviously in order to project something, I had to get dancers who had interest in editing, and then they had to learn to become editors. And then we had dancers who were interested in videography, and then we had to buy cameras and give to them for them to be able to do video shoots. And then we had dancers becoming members of our PR and sales team. I put dancers together, literally
to handle their own
yes,
business.
because then they saw it differently, and then they were very passionate about it. So yeah, even if it meant getting somebody to do lectures for them to show them how it's done. Yeah, we did that. Okay. And then we struggled all the way through, and then eventually, built what we had. So at the beginning, anybody who stays true to what we have done over the period can clearly tell the beginning was very funny. But eventually we were able to sail through, and then we had that. Now the good thing is that has even formed what I call Project 35, which is one of the things we like to have as a legacy project immediately this year. When we are finalizing the program. What I mean by Project 35 is the fact that they are at some point, so dance is a sport for the youth, and at some age, if you don't take care, you may not have the energy to keep dancing anymore. Okay. But the question is, how do we integrate you into the workforce? So having done this with these folks who are literally able to fend for themselves, like the guys on the camera, with the camera alone, they are able to fend for themselves today. They don't dance.
Some form of
they're editing and doing stuff. And it's amazing. There are guys who are doing shoes and all of that, and they are managing doing shoes, bought car, schooling yourself through university, and you are still doing the most. In fact, one of the guys sent to me a message that for the Afro-Latin Congress, he wants to handle everything water. Wow. You understand what I'm saying here? So it's nice, it is good, it's beautiful. So that Project 35 simply means that before anybody is 35, we're hoping that we can get them to begin to learn some vocational skills that can integrate them into workforce, so that before 35 you are equipped to be able to run your life even when you move away from dance, or you don't have the energy to be able to continue dancing, that kind of stuff. So that's one of the things I'll probably come and talk about later, but it's an area that we see that there's real value in that particular place, so we have to be able to work around it. In terms of cultural stuff, the focus, I think that we've not had too much highlights in that particular space. You want to blame everybody, especially the media as well, because I think that sometimes we have to be very conscious about things we do. On their own, the dancers were able to project what worked for them, and that is why you saw that most of them, in fact, in the past, most of them were like, But these guys, when we were in those days when we were coming up, they didn't want to mind us. We had to use social media to be able to gain some form of recognition.
Yeah.
Today we are now being invited to come to radio platforms. So
Superstars.
like, yeah, they forgone. But they were like, yeah, but why was it difficult? I'm like, yeah, well, like they say, it's only when you're shining that everybody sees you and want to associate with you. So it's been like that. It's been a tough one for people within the space to be able to come up. And I think big ups to all the guys who have been able to break through by using social media. Social media is one of the biggest things that has given them the leg to be able to come forth. Unfortunately, when it comes to traditional dancing, that particular side has not happened.
So what is happening with traditional dance?
They are there and they control the various areas within traditional settings like the villages and all of that. They are there heavy and they do a lot of travels, they do a lot of representation nationally, but they are not connected into mainstream of that nature. So a few years back, one of the things we started doing was to do Dogo battle. A Dogo battle is an aspect of the dance festival we call the Dance of Ghanaian Origin battle.
Okay, dance of Ghanaian origin.
Yeah, Dogo. Yeah, so then
So that should be the Adwa, the Kete,
Good.
the Abaja.
Yeah, so
Apatampa.
Good. Yeah. So what we do is that we bring the people together who are able to dance. Them instead of DJ, an ensemble is there. They are playing drums and everything, and then they begin the battle. So when you have the first round, second round, third round, and then all of that, you got the battles and stuff like that, and you declare who the winner is, and then you are able to give them some prizes and stuff like that. I'm hoping to be able to trumpet this to a heights like never before. There are some people who, like we have a chief who is actually literally interested in stuff like this, so we're happy. Hopefully we should be able to make it bigger, and if we are able to get all the necessary support, that should be one of the flagship activities we're doing, because what it does is that it positions the dance in a very modern way. It allows the young people to be able to express themselves in that particular field, and then it's huge entertainment because they come, they talk about what they are doing, and then they still execute it, and by in a very so it's one of the highlights and one of the things I really love so much about that particular field.
I'm excited about that. I want to see it happen. But as a force in dance, Robert, I want to ask you this question with respect to our traditional dances now, similar to some of the elements that we have in our culture, like music, high life music being the core. It has seen some form of progression from high life to hip life, and as it is in some parts of Africa, Afrobeat, where elements of the sound has transcended several generations to what it is now. Has dance also followed that same trajectory?
Yeah, the evolution of dance has been very clear and it's been clean, and dance has always worked with instrumentation or beats.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the reason why one of the things that, so in certain places, dance even leads a particular music genre. I'm sure if I mention salsa right now, most of you would think of dance rather than the music. But the reality is that the music day. But the reality is that the music day, and the music has its own music stars and all of that. You've got everything about it.
Yeah.
In the same way, when I say Kete, you think of dance, not music.
Yeah.
When I say Adowa, you think of dance. When I say Panlogo, you think of dance.
Dance.
But all of these have music in the background. Now check this out, and I keep saying this. In hip hop,
You forgot one.
We forgot one.
Soloku.
if I say
That is brass band music.
if I say, for example,
Talk Soloku.
if I say, for example, hip hop,
Yeah.
anybody within the space clearly knows that there is dance and then there's also the music.
Yes.
And so it's an element of culture. I think one of the alien components of high life is the fact that the dance has not been projected
Okay.
as much as the music, because big ups to James Parker of Apex Dance Group, and the Mamla, that's Musicians and Music Lovers Association.
Okay.
They have danced. They do ballroom dancing, and then high life is one of their dances within the ballroom. So, and anybody who is familiar with ballroom dancing is about couple dance and all of that. And for them, it's one of the components that literally, goes to celebrate. When they meet in the dance, they dance, and they have clearly defined steps. You know exactly what steps you are supposed to take. The 3-type step: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Dancing waist to the ground, and the steps, and then the spins and all of that, which is there. So sometimes I'm wondering, okay, if we were projecting the dance equally as much as we're projecting the music, then you probably see them go hand in hand, because you have a number of people who, for example, are willing to dance. What would they play? They'll play the music, and then they'll obviously have artists who come through. I know I go and so like, I was in South Africa doing Kizomba, and there were Kizomba musicians who were there because even though we went to a dance festival, the musicians were brought on to give us live version of their music.
Okay.
You understand? So the dance and music going hand in hand, I think is one of the areas that we need to be able to project. As a matter of fact, you can never downplay the relevance and importance of dance when it comes to all this
Music promotion and all that.
Afrobeat movement. No, let's talk about Afrobeat in terms of what Afrobeat is and how it became big and everything. On social media platforms, the things that were carrying the music has always been a dance. You understand? Yeah, because obviously you keep watching over and over again, and then that particular, even Azonto, the sound and everything and the vibe and everything, it was a dance that basically took it out there. So it's a contribution to the world dance syllabus. I mean, Azonto beautiful. So it's there, and we need to be able to treat music not as an element of culture, but we need to be able to treat the culture of the people so that it helps us focus on all the facets that basically drives a particular culture. Because when you say hip hop, Charlie, you can never talk about hip hop without all the elements.
Yes.
If somebody, hey yo, what's that? Say hip hop, they talk about
The lingo.
Yeah, but once you say, hey, Odo, this, that, they know,
Shito Banku,
Tilapia.
Wanwamu, Wachi. You know that is Afrobeat.
Yeah. So and by the way, people we have to start figuring out what clothes goes with Afrobeat.
We should.
Yeah.
I think it's one
The
of
fashion, Afrobeat fashion sense.
the Afrobeat, because Afrobeat artists, like we said earlier on, they are dressing like hip hop artists. I mean, the video with all the chains around his neck and all that. But anyway, I have Robert Clark, founder of Ghana Dance Festival, in the studio with us this morning. We're talking the 10th edition of Ghana Dance Festival. We are actually this month, the month of August, we'll start them, and then it's a series of events coming together to form the festival. So make sure you keep the ear out for publication on the events, various events, and where it's happening. So where is the first one happening?
So the schedule is going to be out soon. We want to have a launch that basically marks the 10th anniversary celebration, and we're trying to finalize a few things. So venue is going to come out together with the activities for it, and then right after that, obviously, we'll see a clear schedule of what's happening, where it's happening, and what time it's happening.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hope we also get the time, the chance to also exhibit our skills, because somebody like myself, then I did crack from school days. You say crack, then I did do
Slim cracker.
Yeah.
It's flying in my boy watching this.
Yeah. Then me I the crack. You see, for take him for here, then push him through, make it come this side, then go throw him
Sharp.
Throw give me.
Make a throw give you.
Throw give me.
Take him. There no.
This is Tai Chi cracking.
I don't please give them.
This is Tai Chi cracking. But yeah, we are looking to do quite a number of things, and then obviously want everybody to be involved. I mean, if you've ever had passion for dance, and I know most people in the secondary schools had. So if you've forgotten that, I mean, let's live. Dance is one of the. It's said that dance is one of the shortest ways to happiness. You can access happiness instantly if you start boogieing. You're inside.
So, no.
Is it how you make happy?
You can't be angry and dance. It's impossible. Well, this month schedule will be out so that you know the various events around Ghana Dance Festival, the 10th edition. This morning you can also win 500 Ghana cedis. So look sharp right now. Start 281 hash so that you get enough money for your pocket inside to come to Ghana Dance Festival. Because dance, you go dance hard and you tire so if you buy something drink.
You know what I mean?
So you need money. Start 281 hash. Start 281 hash. This morning we're giving out 1,000 Ghana cedis, but we'll split it into two. We have two draws coming up at exactly 9:55. So 3 simple steps. Prompt number 1 will ask you for the station 586 FM. Prompt number 2 will ask for the number of tickets you want to play. Now a ticket is 5 Ghana cedis, so look sharp and play more. Increase your chance of winning. Yes, simple. And the last prompt for Telecel and MTN users who will ask you for your Momo pin. Don't think that somebody is trying to enter into your account. It's because you started a process and you must complete in order to be eligible for the draw that's coming up at 9:55. So look sharp and play star 281 hash. That is the way to go this morning. Robert, We'll continue the conversation on Ghana Dance Festival as the day goes by. Then we'll dig more information. But anyway, we're stepping in. Showbiz Review still proudly brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies, Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, Phone Papa Pafi and Betway. Betway is telling that you can always get way more with Betway. I don't know if my brother Adam Chotome and Kwame, does you have anything on Ghana Dance Festival? You have something small, real quick?
Oh,
It reminds me of when I was very young.
Now, sir.
I used to be a dancer.
When I was very young, when I used to watch people dance.
Music for your dancing feet.
You had
music for your dancing feet.
I used to watch people dance, but I used to dance as well. I used to dance Agbaja. Yeah, Agbaja. But as I was growing older, my waist started becoming stiffer. I don't know why. Oh, hi. Silly, hi. How are you? I'm happy Dance Festival is back. You know, most times the dancers complain that they want some categories in TGM. I think last year we spoke about this. This is the time for them to embrace theirs. Where you're more dear, and stop clamoring for something that belongs to the musicians. I think we should all support Robert Clark and the team for this one, including all the founders of this particular great initiative. And we hope that this becomes bigger and better moving forward. Slim.
But if you're talking about agents that promote music and you add dance to it, then the music promotion, it's in line. Then other music,
especially at a time when they've taken center stage.
They have music. For visuals,
on TikTok everywhere.
Yeah, for the visuals, they are driving both the audio and video at the same time. And then you can also look at the DJ's part of it, because I'm a DJ. I want to put myself in the conversation.
Yes.
That as proper agent of music distribution and promotion, we also need to be represented at the TGMA. But that's a subject for another day. We'll look at it. We'll get into it proper. Adam.
Yeah, I think it's a very good initiative. I mean, the last couple of years, I've been part and paid attention in terms of
as in you danced,
watching, observing what was going on. I think it's something which need a lot of support, because if you look at the concept and the kind of activity they have, and giving the needed support, awareness, among other things, it will positively impact the dancing space. And you talk about the seminars, among other things they have. It's a learning curve for those in the space. So I would want to ask for more support. And stakeholders too are very important. I mean, those stakeholders, our dancers are promoting music, among other things. So this is for them, and this is one for them. They have even been asking that they are part of other schemes in terms of recognition, and this is an opportunity for them to create their own. So I want to see most of the dancers, actively get involved and push their own to the top.
Thank you, Adam.
But I want to see Adam participate this time, not from the observers stand.
Oh, I go dance. Watch out.
I go dance. Oh,
no be that I go dance. Watch out.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, watch out.
You don't go do that Tai Chi moves.
You hear of electric boogie before?
Yes.
Okay, relax.
What do we have?
I will try. Go show you something.
So we are daring Adam to dance.
Yes.
Dare to dance.
And we are daring you to dance. And then
no shaking.
We have to get you a partner.
So it has to, yeah. Only Adam Bessa. No, me, I won't battle you.
Hey,
Tilly. I won't battle you.
Oh.
No, me, I won't crack.
You won't crack.
Yeah.
Till it's only them, sir.
Oh, me.
So wait, hold on. So you won't crack.
Yeah.
So I'll find you what do you call it, a challenger.
Yeah, find me a challenger.
Me mommy too.
Yeah, everybody.
Where you want.
Me, I go make some.
Ah.
You see, you go carpentry shop before. There is, I have one dance which is known as
What?
So what to dance?
Carpenter Fuasa. I mean, in Yumne Koya, it's me banning a conversation.
They playing the wood.
You see that thing? So
that sounds like
So there are different forms of dance which throws highlight on professions. That's me. Sasa. Chichinga for ding now. see, I don't mean to ask you. A lot.
I'm looking
What
for,
you know doing best?
I'm looking for somebody to battle on the dance floor. I'm looking for
Me
somebody.
too.
Yeah.
I need 2 partners.
Put your money where your
But
mouth
it
is.
be girls.
You your own Miguel.
Yeah, girls. I don't want girls.
But you only be open call.
Open call.
Wallahi.
Woman, man,
Anybody.
both, computer, machine, whatever. bring out.
Forget I'm funny.
I will burn somebody for there. Anyway, we're jumping into our next conversation this morning on Showbiz Review, and we're looking at entertainers in politics. But you go dance on Tilly.
Yeah. We've agreed already.
So what about the wine?
Me battle be me pe salsa.
Salsa.
Salsa will be better me.
I bet you.
Me say me suande da ntina be fa ho kra
Ope salsa, Eddie Asasa.
Hey.
That's a bar.
We bet you now, so Saturday.
That's a bar over there. But in our next conversation this morning, we're looking at entertainers and politics. Now, in recent times, we've seen a surge in entertainers or people around the entertainment industry getting into politics. This morning, we want to find out the benefits that the industry gets when entertainers or people around the entertainment industry gets political positions. Is it worth it? In fact, we'll go into details, proper, step by step. Look at some of the hard questions that lies underneath. Do they have the requisite knowledge to handle such positions? Are they well informed, and does the industry even benefit from it? Here, one by one. Let me start from Kwame Dadzie. Entertainers in political positions.
How many have we had so far?
No.
We can mention Abla Gomashi, right?
Honorable.
Honorable Abla
Honorable.
Gomashi
Yeah.
during the NDC era. We can mention Kweku Manteh.
But she's still in the space though.
No, talking about
Actively involved in entertainment?
she's
Look,
not
she's an entertainer who is actively involved in,
In
politics.
in politics.
And,
now.
and she's still there.
So this is about
She's a member of
politics.
parliament.
Robert?
She's a member of parliament.
Yeah,
so
so
she's
she's
still
still
in the space.
Exactly, but I'm sure what the question means is those who get into
Is it worth it?
into our space, right? Into our art and
You mean
tourism
as-
space.
Is that a question?
No,
Is that
we're talking
position?
about entertainers who get into political positions.
So
You-
it's,
no,
so
no,
it's
wait,
not really about.
Wait, so the question, the topic they sent to us, the question was whether what they do when they assume power benefits the industry.
Yeah.
So if you are an MP, that's what you can
No,
do.
so
So
he's
is it worth
asking
it?
the
So
question now, so that's
I'm
what I'm
asking the question now.
And so
saying, is it worth-
I'm also narrowing down to the
Okay,
topic that
okay.
was sent to us. That's what we're speaking to now. So it's about their contribution to the creative industry and not to their constituencies or whoever they are serving in those areas. So Abla Gomashi, Jifa Abla Gomashi, Honorable, NDC time, Kweku Manteh now. Is there any other one?
Fit Balfour.
If it's Bafo in communications. Okay.
He was into
Okay.
comedy among others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I always say that development is a continuum, and anytime we elect somebody to be in power or in position, what they need to do for us is to provide for us what we need for the industry to grow. And the basic thing in all this is policy. I've said time and again that about 15 years ago, if we spoke about the creative industry, tourism, arts and culture, hardly would you even hear the policymakers talk about the creative industry, let alone allocate some budgets or monies for us, or even think about creating stuff that will inure to our benefit. Years ago, we didn't have that. If you took their manifestos years ago, you wouldn't even see any provisions for the creative industry. So I think that in as much as we are so disappointed in how far we've come, as in maybe we've not moved faster enough, we've been slow in our development, I think these people have contributed in a certain way to the industry. It might not be great or very huge for us to see, but once they are helping structure the industry, I think they've made some inputs. Now, let me start from this angle.
Structure the industry?
Yes, let me start from this angle. There is what we call group development, okay? And there is this man who is an American. He's called Bruce Tuckman. He developed a model that speaks to group development. And every group, when you are starting, we have the forming stage, we have the storming stage, the norming stage, performing stage. Now, see, at a point in time when the industry wasn't structured at all, when nobody was even minding us, nothing was really happening in terms of policy. Then it got to a time when we needed to be stormed, as in where the conflict was. So who wants to come into power and try to convince us to vote for why, we need this, we need the policies, we need copyright laws and all that. Then we are at a stage where we are norming our industry, which means that we are fashioning out policies that will make sure that everything becomes normalized and regulated. And that's why we have the Creative Industry Act, we have all those copyright acts and all that. These are to make sure that the industry becomes more structured. There's a reason we usually say that the tourism industry is structured and seems to be doing better than the creative industry, because we don't have the blueprint to move us forward. So to me, if you take Kwaku Mante's performance now, somebody might say, oh, Obai or Nyashi. But if you are assessing the performance of the person voted into power, maybe you might do that by looking at three things. Possibly by the promises made by the government. Do we also know the KPIs of the person who has been voted into power? Do we know what the president or the government seeks or wants from them? That's what we call KPIs, key performance indicators. Do we know that? So if you're judging them by that, their performances, then we might also look at that in that angle. Then what we can palpably see them do. Now, let's take the Creative Industry Act, started during the time of the NDC, and Honorable Jifar Ablangomachi and all those people played a role in making sure it worked. Then MPP came and they passed it in 2020, December 2020. And that's why I said development is a continuum. So one person started, another person came to complete it. If you are here and you tell me because the MPP hasn't built a theater or the MPP hasn't delivered on all the promises they made, Kwaku Mante hasn't done anything at all to the industry, you are being unfair to him. You are being unfair to anybody who has assumed office as a creative from the NDC time to the MPP time. If you tell us that they've done nothing at all. Kwaku Mante was very instrumental also. After the NDC had laid the foundation for the Creative Art Agency, he and other people also sacrificed or dedicated themselves to also creating the Creative Art Agency for us as we have it now. Somebody might say, what benefit have we had from the agency? Still at the norming stage. We are still at the norming stage. Things may be slow now, and I agree. And we can blame them for things being slow. But we can't say for a fact that they've done nothing, because you can't just jump into having what you have, the result. Development is not an event. So it's a process. It is very slow, and we blame them for that. But for me to say that none of them has done anything at all.
So you believe it's worth it?
It's worth it
to have entertainers in the political
yes,
space.
Possibly if we didn't have all these people inside or in there, we wouldn't even have the little that we have.
It might have been worse.
Yes, we have now. And I say this to the fact that even look at this whole December in GH thing that we have now. Somebody like Socrates Safo, I always say that we don't celebrate him enough, and sometimes it's because of how he also portrays himself to the industry. Like he allows people to just disrespect
but he can't
him.
stop it.
Because if I tell you what Socrates has been doing behind the scenes for the industry, some of these things might not be big things or bigger things, but behind the scenes he's doing so much. For example, when Efua Santua was doing this Singathon thing, Socrates was one of the people who made sure that that whole thing happened at that place. Socrates has been supporting up and coming artists behind the scenes using his office alone. So I believe that, yes, me here right now, I'm disappointed that we've not had a lot of the things delivered, as in the promises they made to us. I'm very disappointed. But for me to be here to say that that would be very, very unfair to them. I believe we should chat them more to do better for the industry, and to also note that they being where they are right now.
You have a minute more.
They be where they are right now. It is to represent us as an industry. Sometimes they are not more parochial interest near me. They might even drift from the core reason they are there. But I think we should also pat them on the back on the little things that they do that are pushing this industry forward. Again, we are getting into elections, and obviously people will be judging whatever you've done by the party's promises and all that. So one way or the other, how you've performed, whether it is intrinsic or extrinsic, what people see is what they judge you by. But I believe that for some of us who are who knows out things, or who listen to information, who read stuff from what these people are doing behind the scenes, that are informing policy and norming the industry, I believe they've also paid their dues in their own small way, and all that we can do is to push them more to do more.
Thank you, Kwame. I do agree with you to a certain extent, and some of the points too I don't agree. For example, any entertainer who decides to jump into the political ring, you have a personal brand before jumping into that ring. Definitely, the ideals or the ideas of your political party is going to affect you. Whether they promise A and they were not able to deliver, you will be seen as somebody who doesn't live up to the bill.
Exactly.
So and let's understand the fact that if you are to rate, let's say, Honorable Kwekumante, who jumped on a media station to tell us that by 1st July 2023.
Oh, but I said that.
So it's definitely going to happen.
I said you didn't
I heard you perfectly.
No, I said that.
Miti,
Promises, no. You get it. But I also mentioned that.
But these are monumental things. These are things that would actually, propel the industry to a certain level. Number one, the theater bit of it. You know that the lack of
and if you are scoring him maybe some 30-40%, but you say zero.
But and also I was so timika.
But I don't kind of say no. Understand? So what I'm saying is that then it means to say buy and zero.
Kwame, let me tell you something. If I promise to give you this remote control, right? If I promise to give you this remote control and I hand you over a bunch of keys, which one you go appreciate?
Oh no, you are making a wrong analogy.
No,
here.
I am not. I am not. The thing is, you promised the group of people. But anyway,
wait. That's why I brought in Tuckman's model. Listen.
You promised the group of people.
Listen. That's why I brought in the Tuckman's development model.
We understand.
You are growing an industry.
You told me that you are going to give me a remote.
Why?
And Mama Miki. And you want me to be happy?
See, 1 year, no. But what I'm saying is that governance and any policy making,
You did not tell me about governance. You told
me. Sorry.
What's okay? This is what you said.
Sorry.
We did not. So if
policies,
you had the right, you had
policies
the right.
are part. We don't even need to debate this.
When we open the microphone for Honorable, Honorable could have said that we are doing so many things, that certain things like policies and all that. We are doing that. Honorable could have said that.
You are in this industry.
Honorable did not say that. Honorable said that we are going to build.
I think you are not attacking the issue how it should be attacked. Wait, what I'm saying is that
all that you said,
in my preamble, I said clearly that promises but I also mentioned that in group development, there were stages. So we are at the norm. We should accept it. We are at the norming stage. My point is to say is what I'm discounting. Say we are rating from 0 to 100, so when you're 30 and I say 40, and you're the same as 0, and I am the same as 0.
Thank you.
In 2000, then and I'm my example say, what if Ebiananke achieve 20 and 30%? So we should push them and still bash them to do better.
On any day.
And
okay, on any day. No. We'll feel battle on this one. Let me move on to Robert on this issue. Is it worth it?
It is. I mean, and everybody ought to be very, very politically conscious. It is your responsibility to be it. I mean, Aristotle have one of the a famous quote that it's usually used.
Socrates' friend. Okay, Socrates.
Not the friend.
Socrates. It was Socrates. No Socrates. Well.
Yeah, sorry. Socrates, as in the philosopher. But Aristotle said that the man is a political animal, which simply means that by virtue of your existence, the elements of politics you cannot take yourself out of it. You are going to be part of it, and the truth is, it will impact you. And you can also impact it. You understand? And that is why another famous quote is that do not ask of your country what your country can do for you, but what you can also do for your country. Which means at the end of the day, each one will have to come to the table to contribute, because you cannot, like the system of governance, when you say democracy in itself, what we have 100% is never successful without the active participation of the governed. The governors and the governed are supposed to work hand in hand to ensure a successful democratic dispensation, whatever it is. So people will have to play their role. I think that the challenge we have is when a particular party, so to say, does not honor or fails in terms of what the expectation of the people may be, and how it rubs off the people who literally supported that particular party, and people not being candid or not being truthful enough to admit that, okay, so we wanted to do 7 things, we could only do 5, and this is where we've gotten to. And then, being fair, because then what happens that it's laced with lies, and it's laced with people trying to cover up and everything. In all fairness, with respect to what Kwame Dadzie is also saying, I just want to quickly highlight the fact that so the people that we've mentioned are not the ones responsible for the sector.
Yeah.
They are only playing a role. They are not the people, the key drivers of the sector. Because the person driving our sector is not of the arts.
Yeah.
It's not from the creative arts. So that particular person is the boss. So if that person is the boss, then he calls the shots. And if the person is calling the shots, maybe, and then who knows, maybe there are meetings that he's not been part of. So he only comes to play a role in terms of execution. And so if that is the case, then there's so much he can do. There are things that he cannot do because it's not the one in charge completely. You understand? But obviously, again, by principles of leadership and being a good follower or being loyal and all of that, you are supposed to subscribe to whatever the sector is doing and be able to ensure that it's done. So for me, if all we've gotten to is to place second in command, we should be aiming for first in command. Exactly. And so we shouldn't stop. We should, keep hard at it. And I don't think that any human being can say that if I'm a doctor, then the only skill I have in this world is how to heal, how to take care of people. That's the only thing. No, like we can't say because you're DJ Slim, all you know how to do is to be a DJ. No, I mean there are so many things to you, and people cannot be defined holistically by a particular skill. So for me, back to my point where I'm saying, if you're sexy, if you have the skill, so sexy being the acronym, if you have the skill, you have the experience, you have the knowledge, you have the character, you have the ethics, you have the influence, then at the end of the day, why not? If you can play that particular role, I mean, on merit, why not play it?
But do you believe we have the right government set up that enables creatives who get into the political space to execute their ideas?
The forming, norming, storming, performing is always happening. You understand? It's always happening. The tourism sector are performing because they've done the norming and they have done the storming already, and so they are performing, even though it's not at 100%. Like Equalizer, you have some components going high, some components going low, because there are still areas they haven't covered, and it's like you said, it's a continuum, it's a process, it's progressive, it's not a destination. So you keep adjusting as you keep going, because even the human needs and community needs always evolves, and therefore you want to constantly put things in the right place. So I should say that it's beneficial and we should not stop, because you see we also need to have key reminders constantly. The fact that you represent the arts, maybe every time they see you, a reminder drops in their mind that, hey, we have to do something for these people, because what? It's a human institution, and people need to be, reminded that they are supposed to get certain things done. And for as long as we keep seeing our people there, we will have the confidence to be able to dream, to want to obtain or be in a particular position. When I see Kwame A+, how you make wild in that particular regard, yes, it's nice, it's beautiful. It means that others would see the need to be able to still keep pursuing the agenda of, having a form of representation. So having fair representation at the seat where decision is made in the corridors of power any day, for me, is better than not having it.
Okay. Adam.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think that every industry needs certain mechanisms to be able to set up. I mean, over the years, some of the relationships with the people in the creative art has mostly been about being part of campaigns of government doing songs for them, using their popularity to create visibility for them to, preach their campaign messages among others. But the creatives being parts, like in terms of policy making, that change started somewhere in 2012 when the former president John Mahama created added a creative art ministry to the tourism. That was where we had a ministry which is known as creative art, where 2013 Musica commended him among other things. From there, the narrative changed a little, where we even saw political manifestos having policies for the creative sector, where they started saying that, okay, we are going to do this for the creative art. And it's also built up to a certain point where we had, even prior to unveiling the manifesto, we had them forming a team of creative arts, people within the creative art, to, help them come up with ideas of policies and other things to do. In the recent election, if you check the dynamics, NPP came out with a team of people to help them when it comes to issues of creative art, and so is NDC. So we have seen a certain intense or high intensity in terms of the involvement, in terms of impact of the people within the creative art space from 2012. And it is very crucial, because if you are not part of the beginning, because I've heard some of my colleagues say that you do not call the shots and others. When you are part of it, you can help call the shot, because you will help them suggest better policies and measures to help, fix that industry. So I see a progress in terms of the involvement of the people in the creative art, in terms of, suggesting policy initiatives to change the space. I believe that we have been a little slow than what we could have done, because if you look at from 2012 to now, we haven't we crossed a decade. So we should have seen that pace has been slow. But I want to urge the creative art industry people who get some of these opportunity to care about their industry more than the politics, because I see this from 3 points. People get into this political space, one, for their own, financial rewards. They want to just do songs or be part of the campaign so they will be rewarded financially. Some also get in there to fulfill their childhood dream, because some of them are emotionally attached to these parties from birth. And it's like, it's their, the party they chomufuma. So when they get to a certain point, they even think about, because I've heard some of them say, I've not been paid, I wasn't paid, I just did it. And if you go deeper into it, you realize that yes, they just did. It was later they realized that some of their colleagues have been paid who were doing business. Yeah. And they realize that now, people go there because of their emotional attachment to the parties. Some go to do business with the parties, and there are others who want to have a certain level of recognition in the creative art space. Now, I want to tell all these 3 types of people to put their industry first, because the industry is what will put food on your table every day, because you cannot, forgo your talent and everything and move into other space. So when you are...
Some of them cannot.
Of course, actually. Of course, but if you do that, then we are killing the industry.
Some want to be politicians, true politicians.
Yes, but
they are nursing their dreams.
Don't do that at the extent of your own industry. Look at some of the professional associations, like Ghana Medical Association, Teachers Union, even Journalists Union, among others. Some of these people ensure they exert enough pressure on government in terms of policy decision. That is what I want the creative art to be. I don't like the level of partisanship and division which is coming into our folks. I want us to be development oriented. We need to champion for the cause of industry, and that is where we are going to see the impact we want, because if you allow yourself, the politicians will use you. So please, let's put the industry first.
Our special guest this morning, I have Tilly Ekwianipa in the studio. Oh,
CEO of
CEO of what?
I'm not the CEO of anything.
Oh,
T for talkative.
Tilly.
See why I like you.
Tilly, let me dash you 3 minutes.
Yes, for me, I think that any opportunity that we creatives get to be in politics or in governance or whatever it is, I think we should take it. And to me, I think we don't even have enough there, because sometimes when you listen to certain things that are going on, you could realize that there is a certain lack of understanding of even our sector, which is why certain policies have delayed so much and certain progress that we should have seen has delayed so much. So when I see any creative who wants to go there, I am excited, because at least if on a table of 10 people, we have even 4 understanding what is on the table, it's easy to get it passed, or it's easy to move it forward. So I like that. But the problem then comes like when they go there, then they become more political than creative. And that is the problem. Because then, we've seen Okweku Mante's Honorable Okweku Mante's, when he was going for his vetting, the people we saw following him were creatives, people from the creative arts. So they were hoping that this man, he would know that Ochanechia are creatives for Neteho. And so we are putting him in a place where we hope that should anything happen, he will have direct influence that will benefit us in there. But what do we see happening? Not just Okweku Mante, or not, I don't want to single him out, but usually when they go there, it becomes very political. If you put somebody from the creative side that sits with the NDC, and you put somebody in the creative side that sits with the MPP, they can never agree on anything that benefits the creative. They always agree on something that benefits their political party, and it's a shame to watch, especially when you see them on stations that they are supposed to talk about something that's supposed to keep the industry forward. You can see that even though the tickets the coin, they are political now, and that is the downside for us and the creatives when they go there. But there is another bigger problem I want us to look at. I think there is also an issue of leadership in our creative side, which of course does not benefit us when it comes to the associations, their heads, whatever. When you see CTAG, what, and they have issues, you see how they mobilize themselves and they move, and then they put enough pressure on the right places, and then things change. But what do we have?
Oh, we have our associations there.
Okweku Mante, one of the biggest things. I'm so sorry. Honorable Okweku Mante, one of the biggest things I'm sure he has had to deal with when he entered power is to resolve our leadership problems for us. But it shouldn't be so. That should have been the next. It should have been something. Now, what can we do? What is the issue? What are we pushing? But he is now fixing ASOC problems, fixing Fire Park problems, because the leadership, we are not in one, like we are not in unison. So the problem is that until the leaders understand that, listen, Okweku Mante, no matter the promises he will give us, he is also following certain KPIs that Kwame Dadzie mentioned. And in the larger scheme, he doesn't make all the decisions. He just influences certain things. So what can we do as people, as leaders? What can we understand about our group of people? If we take the film crew, what is their problem? If we take the what do we call the ASOC people? What is that? Put it together. Now, then, when you are mounting the right pressure, you know where it is going. But if Okweku Mante, in all his power, has to come and resolve leadership problem in our sector, then we are not going forward as an industry. So yes, I would love for them to be there. But when they go there, they become too political than creative. And if our agencies, our associations, our unions do not put themselves in the right position to help Okweku Mante or anybody from the creative arts, we will be circling ourselves like that.
Tilly, thanks a lot for joining us this morning. I wish we could have this conversation. Look at some of the problems that you highlighted this morning, but Charlie, issues day. Billion thanks to the team. Billion thanks to you, Kwame. Thank you for coming in today.
This is Hits.